Time's up.
The Corvette ZR1X is the biggest slap in the face to the supercar industry and arguably the hypercar industry.
Sorry, I don't speak Italian.
I'm already chomping at the bit to get the opportunity to drive the normal Corvette ZR1, and then Chevy has to have some bald eagles fly in and say, "We're not done yet."
FBI, open up!
This car feels like it completely came out of nowhere. But we all knew that a Corvette Zora was being produced, and there was even some spy shots of a Corvette testing on the Nürburgring. And come to find out, it was probably this testing, just disguised without the extra badge on it. It's called the ZR1X, but I kind of still wish it was called the Zora, because it kind of makes me think of Ocarina of Time. Today, I'm going to cover what we know so far about this car, how this could shake up a ton of things in the industry, and how do other brands react to something like this. So go ahead and hit that like button, or you are forced to admit that the Mustang 2 was the best Mustang ever created.
Oh man! Oh god! Oh man!
And also, what do you guys think of the ZR1X? Feeling like it came out of left field? Put it down in the comment section below. Also, I do have an event this weekend called Tandem Trials, where two drift cars actually race each other through an obstacle course. So think of it like grassroots hyperdrive. So if you're interested in that, it's gonna be a ton of fun, and I'm gonna be filming. So if you wanna be in a video, it'd be a great opportunity. So if you're interested, head down to Caffeine Octane Linear Raceway right across from Road Atlanta. Tickets down below, and thank you guys so much for listening. So, first things first to get you guys up to speed. The ZR1X is kind of a greatest hits album of the C8 Corvette. Basically, you take the twin turbocharged flat plane crank engine that evolved from the Z06 that we all loved. You threw the twin turbos on it, which are the biggest production twin turbos ever fitted to a car. You make 1,064 horsepower with just the combustion engine. And then you take the Corvette E-Ray, which is the first ever all-wheel drive Corvette, but you take the front axle system from the E-Ray, basically the electric powertrain in a nutshell, and then you combine them. And what you have is the most diabolical car Chevy has maybe ever made. And what's really cool is that the engineers have claimed that they even squeezed more power out of the E-Ray drivetrain, which is really impressive, because the E-Ray is already an absolute monster off the line and in a straight line. So it was smart of them to be like, you know what, instead of us developing an all-new all-wheel drive system, why don't we just use what we got that's really great and improve upon it. And the E-Ray doesn't get talked about that much, but it is truly an amazing car. I think just the screaming Z06 has definitely overlooked the E-Ray. With the combustion motor and the E-Ray drivetrain, that gives you 1,250 horsepower.
What? What the f?
Just when we thought the industry was all over with sports cars, being like, man, we gotta get rid of these internal combustion engines. They're no good. Chevy had to come out with the American flag waving and go, not this time, baby. So you have a car platform that goes from a 400 horsepower motor, which you can then get all the way in trim level to 1,250 horsepower. And they all do it in completely different ways. The C8 Stingray has a much more traditional Chevy V8. Then you move on to the Z06, which is a flat plane crank V8, naturally aspirated, that screams to the sky. Then you have the E-Ray with the electric stuff, and then you have the ZR1 with the twin turbo flat plane crank V8, and now you have the ZR1X. This might be the first time in automotive history, and especially performance car industry, to have this many type of options in one performance car platform. And I think that's really fascinating. And I never in a million years would have thought it would be out of the Corvette. So in hindsight, it's obvious that they made the C8 chassis so good in order to be able to have it handle all of this barbaric nature in the future. So it's really impressive to see that the C8 chassis is just so stout when it comes to these things. And Chevy is claiming, and I obviously believe them, that this is America's first hypercar. You could basically argue that the normal ZR1 is a hypercar. It's bananas fast, it goes 233 miles an hour, and it doesn't even have the E-Ray stuff up front, and it's rear-wheel drive. Especially with the low drag trim, where they take off the big wing and everything like that, that's what lets it go to 233 miles an hour. And the ZR1X has the same top speed. So it's the acceleration that is improved exponentially due to the electric motor. And what's even crazier is that they have a sub 2-second 0 to 60 time. Do you know how crazy that is? EVs have a hard time getting to that number. So now my brain is just jelly trying to think about what the experience is going to be like for the very limited amount of people who will get to drive this car and also own this car. And hopefully it does not become a collector item paperweight. That would just break my heart. Also, you'll notice that a lot of the B-roll for this car was shot at Atlanta Motorsports Park, which is one of my home tracks, and I'm a little nostalgic about it because that's where I did Primo Racing School and won my first race. So no big deal. It's whatever. I'm just kidding. That was just the luckiest day of my life, to be honest with you. I got lucky with my passes.
Looks like David Patterson just made the pass.
And that track does not have a lot of straightaways, so I'm sure it was pretty crazy to film that car at that track. Also, it has 10 piston brakes. 10 piston. Crazy. So, short and sweet, the ZR1X is the fastest Corvette that's ever going to be made. It is the only all-wheel drive Corvette that has ever been made other than the E-Ray. I mean, obviously, because it uses the E-Ray technology. So how does this change the industry? What do I mean by that question? I think we're in another horsepower war. It's not like the relatable one we had, you know, with the GT500 and the Hellcat and the C7 ZR1, where we were getting tons of power for an actual affordable price. Affordable is a reach, but it was within reach, right? This is like another horsepower war, but with halo cars. So it's gonna be really interesting to see how the other brands react to this, because Chevy has proven to us to be one of the fastest people in the world in a street car. You don't have to go buy a Bugatti or a Koenigsegg or anything like that where you're spending $1+ million. Is it still going to be expensive? Obviously, but we're talking Ferrari territory and Lambo territory and all those price points. With the positive reception of the ZR1 and all its reviews, which it's crazy because those reviews literally just came out and now we're getting this news. It literally was a proud moment, I feel like, for the American sports car industry, right? That's an amazing car. That's an amazing car. And it was developed in Michigan and built in Kentucky. I love it. I love the idea of that. But now it's literally your move, Ferrari. And I don't know about Lambo, because Lambo and Ferrari customers are not always the same, contrary to popular belief. Rivolto is sick though, but never in my wildest dreams, if I was to ask young David, like kid David, you have to choose between a Corvette and a Lambo, it would have been the Lambo. Now as adult David, I'm like, I don't know what I would choose. I have no idea now because the ZR1X is just so impressive and the Rivolto sounds really cool. I would have never pondered a Lambo versus a Corvette, ever. But that just shows what Chevy has done here. And now it's even tougher with things like the Mustang GTD, which I truly thought shook up a lot of the industry as well. But now I think a lot of people that might have been looking at the GTD, and if they had the budget for the GTD, they're like, you know what, maybe I'll just go get the Corvette instead. Because of the numbers, it's just so crazy to see what these Corvettes are doing. And the C6 ZR1, when I saw it the very first time, it was a really special car. And I still think it's a very special car. But I think this new ZR1 has truly captured everybody when it comes to a special American car right now. The Z06 was so good that it was the first car ever I drove so hard on track that I made myself throw up. Like, that's how much fun I was having in it, because I did lap after lap after lap and I was pushing harder and harder and harder, and I loved it. I literally threw up, and then I came back and did more laps. It was that good. So I cannot imagine what the ZR1's like, and I even more cannot imagine what the ZR1X is going to be like. And recently Ferrari was gonna develop this new EV platform, but I think they're giving up on it because there's just not any demand for it. So we're finally seeing the shift where people are saying, there's not a lot of demand for this stuff. Let's go back to what works. And in my opinion, it's hybrid. As of right now, hybrid is the best option. You have the best of both worlds. And even with performance cars all the way back in like 2014, 2015, with the Porsche 918, I feel like that should have shown us where the future was supposed to go in some way, but that's just my opinion. You know what's funny? If somebody was a YouTuber and they bought a ZR1, it's like, where do you go from there? It's done, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't change a thing. I would never touch that car because you know the love and time and research and development was just put into that car, right? I would not change a thing, not one thing. Anyways, pretty simple video for today. I love opening this up to discussion for the comment section below. What do you guys think of the ZR1X? What do you think of it changing the entire industry? Put it down in the comment section below. And on that note, I hope that every single one of you has a wonderful rest of your day. See you guys next time. Goodbye.